The Buddha said, "Countless dharmas arise from the mind. Across 1,000 sutras and myriad discourses, ultimately one never departs from one's own mind. There are those who recite sutras tens of thousands of times throughout their entire lives, yet never behold the Buddha. There are those who devote themselves to rigorous meditation for 10 years, yet remain confused. Why is this so? Because they have forgotten one crucial point. The Buddha Dharma does not reside in outward forms, but lies in directly pointing to the mind, seeing one's true nature, and thus becoming a Buddha." Today, we will speak of Bodhidharma's final teaching. He spent 9 years dispelling sickness and crossing others to the Dharma halfway through his journey. In the end, he left behind a phrase that shook the world and shattered people's entrenched notions about spiritual cultivation. He told us there is no need to cling to seated meditation, no need to be attached to sutra recitation, no need to remain trapped by precepts. Simply by understanding one single matter, one can gain immediate liberation. So what exactly is this matter? How did it influence the entire Chan Zen tradition? Let us venture to Mount Shaoxi and listen to Bodhidharma's final teaching. Daybreak. At the summit of Song Mountain, clouds and mist curl around, like a blue haze draping the peaks. The morning bell tolls, its lingering sound gently echoing through the tranquil Shaolin temple. The cold peaks carry the sound of the pines, reminiscent of an ancient Chan resonance, reminding the world that the cycle of rebirth never ceases. Yet this morning heralds a new moment. Bodhidharma, wrapped in an old robe, stands before the monastery gate. The hem of his robe stirs slightly, his figure melded into the vast mountain scene like a weathered statue. He remains silent, as though already transcending the flow of time. 9 years have passed in the blink of an eye since he came across the sea from India, sitting through centuries of dust, retreating into the heart's essence. Now, in the cycle of arising and ceasing, the time is ripe. He is about to depart this place of Chan cultivation, leaving the true meaning of the Dharma to future generations. Next to him stands Huike, hands folded in reverence, his expression solemn. His mind flutters with memories from the past 9 years, like a breeze brushing the surface. In the beginning, he was a monk desperate for the Dharma, kneeling in the snow, severing his arm to show his resolve, all for the sake of finding a mind at peace. Now, though his mental state has changed, he still cannot quite let go of a lingering sense of reluctance. His master's about to leave, yet the Dharma seems not fully imparted. His mind still drifts, not yet crystal clear as a bright mirror. At that moment, along the stone path beyond the temple gate, a young monk hurries toward them. His steps betray his unease, his face full of confusion and anxiety. Though short of breath, his eyes burn with longing. Bowing respectfully, he asks urgently, "Master Patriarch, I have practiced for 10 years, recited the sutras countless times, yet why can I not see my true nature? Why is my mind still adrift like scattered fluff, homeless and unsettled?" Bodhidharma looks at him, his gaze deep like an ancient well, yet also as though vast mountains have sunk within it, hiding truths unchanging through millennia. A faint smile lifts the corners of his mouth, seeming to sweep away worldly attachments, falling gently on the young monk like the first rays of dawn. After a moment, he speaks softly, his tone calm yet striking as thunder at daybreak. "The thing you have sought for 10 years has actually always been with you." Morning light shines on the sutra repository in Shaolin Temple, patches of sunlight and shadow intermingling. Monks gather, each wearing a different expression, some in contemplation, some in anticipation, some anxious, all harboring questions, hoping to receive the patriarch's last teaching before his departure. They once believed that cultivation followed a visible path. that ascetic practice could bring attainment, that sutra recitation could yield enlightenment, that upholding precepts could bring proper stillness. Now, standing before Bodhidharma, a thread of doubt begins to arise. Is what they steadfastly hold to truly a gateway to liberation, or is it an invisible shackle? Among them, an elderly monk with white hair stands supported by his staff. His expression is steady, forehead etched with deep lines like an inscription of years of devotion to Chan. He has cultivated in Shaolin Temple for 30 years, meditating day and night. His figure is imprinted upon the monastery's worn meditation mat. He believed that if he sat still long enough, his mind would become as calm as still water, subduing all delusive thoughts. Yet why does his mind remain in flux, like a flickering candle in the wind? He looks up at Bodhidharma, a deep heaviness in his heart, like water in a dried-up well that, though clear, has no flow of life. On the other side stands a middle-aged monk in a simple robe, holding a sutra scroll. The skin of his fingertips has been roughened by years of turning pages. He is the most learned teacher of scriptures in the temple, able to recite the entire Dhamma Sutra from memory. Each word, each sentence, is indelibly etched into his mind. Yet he often feels an inexplicable emptiness, as though he is merely a container filled with Buddhist texts, but has never genuinely savored the flavor of the Dharma. He sighs softly. The scripture is but a finger pointing to the moon. Yet I have spent my days staring only at the finger, never lifting my gaze to see the bright moon beyond. Not far away, a young monk stands quietly, his bearing dignified and his steps light, for fear of stepping on a single ant. He upholds the precepts strictly, never letting his robe touch the dust. In every action, walking, standing, sitting, and lying down, he follows the rules scrupulously, like treading on thin ice. He believes that precepts are the foundation of cultivation, and that failure to strictly adhere would lead one into ignorance. Yet recently he has had recurring dreams in which he is wrapped in chains, walking down a dark corridor step by step, bound and unable to move forward. He cannot help but wonder, precepts are meant to bring freedom. Why, the more I keep them, the more my mind becomes shackled. If I cling too tightly, do I not fall into another kind of imprisonment? Bodhidharma silently observes these seekers of the Dharma, each face etched with a mix of dedication and confusion. They are like travelers on three different paths, believing their destination to be the Buddha land. Yet each step of attachment draws them further from their original mind. Sighing inwardly, Bodhidharma reflects, ordinary people are trapped by appearances, failing to investigate their true nature. A light breeze ruffles the pines. The lingering echo of the temple bell still resonates. Bodhidharma lets out a soft sigh and speaks slowly. You all believe that cultivation is about gain, yet true cultivation is not about adding bricks and tiles. It is about clearing away the clouds to reveal the sun. The Buddha nature is inherently complete. Why seek it outside? At these words, the assembled monks fall silent, as though an intangible ripple spreads through the air, stirring the depths of their hearts. Their glances converge, each wrestling with the realization that they might need to let go of long-held beliefs. The morning light grows warmer on the summit of Song Mountain, the ancient pines standing tall. The mountain breeze blows across Bodhidharma's robe as he stands outside Shaolin Temple, his gaze far-reaching, as if piercing through the veil of time to revisit the journey he has taken since arriving in China. He crossed the seas, buffeted by the tides of history. Now his 9 years of facing the wall are complete, and the lineage of the Dharma is about to be transmitted. In the faint echo of the mortal world, his mind returns to that first day, that conversation which reverberated through the land. That year, upon arriving in China, he was welcomed by Emperor Wu of Liang into the palace at Jinling. The palace was solemn, illuminated by lamps and candles. Sutras filled the hall. The emperor, draped in a golden-threaded monastic robe, sat upon the throne with a dignified air. He looked down upon the Indian monk with pride and said, "I have built countless temples, supported tens of thousands of monks, copied innumerable sutras, and I practice Buddhism daily. What merit is there in all of this?" A hush fell over the court. Civil and military officials held their breath, awaiting the response of this enigmatic master. Bodhidharma lifted his gaze slightly, his eyes calm like an ancient well, and replied slowly, "No merit." His words caused an uproar in the hall. Emperor Wu's expression changed faintly, his tone laced with displeasure. "Why do you say no merit? Is not building temples, supporting the monastic community, and copying sutras an act of promoting the Dharma and benefiting all?" Unhurriedly, Bodhidharma answered, "These are but worldly, conditioned deeds, like dreams and illusions. While they accumulate good karma, they are not ultimate. True merit must arise from a mind that seeks nothing. If the mind clings, it remains delusive and is still bound by birth and death." The emperor fell silent. All that he had once believed to lead to the Buddha land dissolved into nothingness at those words. After that conversation, Bodhidharma quietly left Jinling, journeying alone, ultimately arriving at Shaolin Temple on Mount Song. He did not enter the temple, but chose a secluded cave, where he sat facing the wall, turning his back on worldly affairs. 9 years passed. In that time, winter winds wailed and blanketed the pines with snow. White frost settled on his threadbare robe, the cold seeping into flesh and bone. Yet he never wavered, remaining steady like the earth. In summer, thunder boomed, lightning flashed, and fierce gales tore at the branches of Song Mountain, the downpour darkening the stone walls. Still, his figure remained unmoved. He quietly observed his own mind, like the moon reflected in clear water, unswayed by external objects, seeking no attainment. All forms are empty illusions. Only by not letting oneself be dragged by delusive thoughts can one directly see one's true nature. By the time his final retreat drew to a close, he had been sculpted into silence by the years. People suspected him of dullness, but he understood that genuine cultivation no longer lies in spoken words or sutras, but in directly seeing one's true nature. One day, an elderly scholar came bearing a large chest of Buddhist scriptures, eloquent and learned. Kneeling before Bodhidharma, he asked respectfully, "Master, I have devoted my life to the study of Buddhism, reading through 1,000 scrolls of sutras, yet I remain perplexed. What is the true essence of the Dharma?" Bodhidharma gazed upon him and answered softly, "Scriptures are but fingers pointing to the moon. Should you keep your eyes fixed on the finger, you will never attain true illumination." The scholar was stunned. Although he understood the text, he had never lifted his head to see the moonlight of genuine insight. He had never truly examined his own mind. Another day, an ascetic monk came, dressed in tattered robes, face gaunt and drawn, his body frail as kindling. He ate just one meal a day and renounced all indulgence in women, speaking no words and never smiling. Daily he walked across thorny paths, his feet stained with blood. His eyes shone with grim determination. "Master, I have practiced asceticism for many years. My body is withered. When will I finally attain enlightenment?" With a soft sigh, Bodhidharma said, "If you torment the body without awakening the mind, you will merely become a dead tree in time." The ascetic monk froze, his heart churning with emotion. He realized that what he had been tormenting was none other than his own stubborn attachment, not the true path to liberation. On yet another occasion, a young noble from a princely household arrived with a retinue. Clothed in finery, he strode with assurance. His servants carried precious sutras and offerings. He had taken refuge since childhood, performing daily devotions. His family's temple never ceased in worship, constantly receiving visiting monastics. Standing before Bodhidharma, his tone was tinged with pride. Master, I worship the Buddha daily. I support the three jewels. And in my family's temple, the sound of chanting never ends. Why have I not yet glimpsed the way? Bodhidharma smiled gently. Luxurious garments only add adornment. Stars may crowd the southern market, yet the moon's light is untouched. The young man's face tightened. His grip on his robe grew taut, and he fell silent. Though wealthy, though pious, he had never truly illuminated his own mind. All his practices remained on the surface, never reaching deep into his soul. Yet among all these seekers, the one who left the deepest impression on Bodhidharma was a simple cowherd boy. The boy, barefoot on the mountain stones, clothes in tatters, holding a bamboo staff. He stared curiously at Bodhidharma and blinked. Monk, why have you been facing a wall for 9 years? What are you looking for? Bodhidharma straightened and gazed back at him. The boy continued, I tend cattle every day. When it's sunny, I watch the white clouds. When it rains, I listen to the thunder. In spring, I step on new grass. In winter, I warm myself by the fire. My heart is happy. Is this what you call the Buddhidharma? Bodhidharma felt a jolt in his heart. With a faint smile, he said, in many ways, you already understand more deeply than most. All beings try to seek the Dharma in sutras, precepts, and asceticism, unaware that it has never been far away, nor has it ever been lacking. Buddha nature is like a bright moon, always shining in everyone's heart. It only waits for the clouds to disperse so it can be seen clearly. The morning light grows stronger. Within Shaolin Temple, the assembly remains steeped in thought. Sunbeams gradually fill the courtyard. A light breeze blows past the sutra repository, where a withered branch holds a melting remnant of snow. The droplet slowly falls and splashes onto the stone steps, stirring a faint puff of dust, silently marking the passage of time. Bodhidharma scans the faces of the monks, each reflecting a mix of confusion and expectation. Some show sudden understanding, some bow their heads in contemplation, some betray flickers of fear. They have practiced for many years, accustomed to day after day of sitting in meditation, reciting sutras, and upholding precepts, believing these were the bridges to enlightenment. But now the patriarch says, there is no need to sit in meditation, no need to recite sutras, as long as you understand one matter. He has barely finished speaking when a ripple of astonishment courses through the crowd. If there is no meditation or sutra recitation or precepts, where then does the Dharma reside? This thought flashes like a swift wind through their minds, disrupting faiths once thought unshakable. Amid the dawn light, Huiki steps forward. His robe sways gently. He is no longer that young monk kneeling in the snow, begging for the Dharma. The years have tempered him. He knows Bodhidharma would not speak idly. There must be a profound wisdom to be revealed. Slowly he kneels and folds his hands, eyes steady, his voice calm and respectful. Master, please reveal to us, what does this matter? Bodhidharma smiles slightly, his eyes clear as an autumn lake reflecting the moon. He brushes a bit of dust from his robe. Though his tone is gentle, his words echo like the deep ring of a temple bell, shaking the listeners to the core. The Buddha Dharma does not reside in sutras, in sitting meditation, or in precepts. It lies in directly pointing to the mind and seeing one's true nature to become a Buddha. In an instant, all present feel a shock to the heart. A few monks look up abruptly, their hands trembling. The Buddha Dharma does not lie in the scriptures? Those who devoted their entire lives to studying the sutras suddenly suspect they have wandered into a labyrinth, circling amid texts without ever entering that vast realm of realization. Some frown deeply, lost in thought. No more meditation. Those who sit daily, hoping that stillness will yield awakening, now seem to hear some unimaginable pronouncement. Uncertainty grips them. If endless meditation fails to reveal the true nature, how can they attain the path? Others breathe heavily, minds churning. No more precepts? Those who uphold the rules as if their very lives depended on it suddenly feel as if the firm ground beneath them has crumbled. If precepts are not the ultimate, what does their strict devotion mean? In that moment, the convictions they held begin to collapse. Yet genuine enlightenment often rises only from the rubble of broken attachments. Hui quietly listens, memories drifting back to that snowy night, to himself, kneeling before the patriarch. On that occasion, snow fell thick and fast. He stood in that frozen world all night, blood staining the ground, only to seek a single moment of peace in his heart. He implored Bodhidharma, "My mind is not at peace. Master, please pacify it for me." But Bodhidharma merely looked at him calmly and said, "Bring me your mind, and I will settle it." Huke was startled. Lowering his gaze, he searched for that root of anxiety, pain, and unrest. Yet he found nothing. In that moment, a sudden realization dawned. The mind cannot be grasped, so how can it be settled? At once, the snow seemed to halt, and all creation fell silent. He raised his head to see Bodhidharma. In his eyes, the light of awakening shone like a star in the night sky. In an instant, he understood entirely. All attachments, pursuits, fears, doubts, mere illusions. The mind has no form. To cling to settling it is itself delusion. To seek it outside is to wander from one's nature. True awakening does not come by increments. It is a sudden return to that intrinsic wholeness, pure and untainted, like a moon reflected on a tranquil lake, awaiting only still waters to show its brilliance. Now Bodhidharma reiterates, the Dharma is not found outside. It is in directly pointing to the mind, seeing one's true nature, and becoming a Buddha. This pronouncement, as powerful as that snowbound night, gives Huike a second shock of realization. He rises slowly and bows deeply, his eyes free of confusion, filled with reverence and joy. Sunlight grows ever brighter, illuminating them and dissolving the attachments forming cracks in their hearts. The monks begin to understand that genuine practice does not lie in seeking something new, but in relinquishing every pursuit. It is not about accumulating, but about returning to the Buddha nature that has always existed. Bodhidharma smiles faintly. He knows the seed of Chan has now been planted. One day it will take root and spread across the land. His teaching strikes the assembly like a thunderbolt, awakening those who have clung stubbornly to forms. Now they finally see that what they relied upon, meditation, recitation, precepts, and scriptures, are not the final goal, but tools of transmission. They had believed cultivation to be the steady piling up of merits. Like building a tower, once tall enough, it would reach the heavens. Now they realize that enlightenment does not come through addition, but through stripping away the layers that obscure their true nature. The old monk realizes his 30 years of meditation were like still water in a well. Unmoving, yes, but without a fresh current. The sutra teacher looks down at his scrolls, once regarded as a bridge to the Buddha. Now they seem more like walls he built around himself. The young monk opens his clenched fist. He used to think stricter precepts would bring him closer to purity. Only now does he see that clinging to the rules, without perceiving emptiness, is yet another form of imprisonment. At last they understand why Bodhidharma taught, directly point to the mind, see one's true nature to become a Buddha. For the truth is already complete in itself. Why seek it outside? Bodhidharma slowly walks toward the temple gate. The morning rays drape him in a soft glow. Turning back to regard the monks, he smiles, his voice gentle yet profound. What I have spoken today is not a new teaching, but the true mind you have always possessed. Like a falling leaf in the wind, these words drift into each heart. Huike lowers his head, recalling that snowy night when he stood in the cold, searching for a mind he could not find, only to awaken to the truth that the mind is ever intangible. Realizing one's nature is not distant or out of reach. It is as present and evident as the moon in a clear sky. One does not need to carve or labor for it, like a still lake naturally reflecting the moon. The moment the water is calm, everything appears. Outside the gate, the distant mountains lie in verdant chill. The sky is crystal clear. Bodhidharma turns, walking down the path. Morning light glimmers on his worn robe, merging him with the vastness of the land. His steps are light but carry the future of Chan. He does not look back, for he knows the lineage of the Dharma has already been entrusted. One day it will flourish across these lands. Huike and the monks watch silently as their master leaves. No one speaks. No one weeps. Only the morning wind ruffles their sleeves, a wordless song of parting. Some monks close their eyes in realization. Others bow their heads in thought. Still others gaze at the winding mountain trail in silence. See your nature and become a Buddha. There is nowhere else to find it. It is here in this moment. That final teaching resonates like the temple bell at dawn and dusk. It will echo through centuries of Chan practitioners, lighting countless hearts like lamps in the darkness, illuminating their minds and revealing their true nature. In the morning light of Mount Shaoxi, Bodhidharma's figure recedes into the distance. Yet the lineage of Chan is now deeply planted,